All right, so hopefully this video isn't complete shit, but we'll find out. I'm doing it kind of impromptu. My favorite person in the entire world, who happens to be my cousin, also my best friend and my idol, all at the same time, this is not a joke, I'm actually like, completely dead serious, had a question. And I thought to myself, boy, I should shoot him a video and explain this. And then I started thinking about it some more, and I was like, damn, I bet this is something that most people don't know. So I'm shooting this video, and shout out to Jeff, because he's the best in the entire world. But more importantly, to the point of the video itself, I'm going to teach you guys something that I used to actually get paid to do. Weird, right? So, what do you know about your feet and your tibia and your knee and all this stuff like that? So, you guys are going to get to check out my disgusting feet. We'll go with the bad one too, because this is probably more important. So this is the foot that I shattered in 12 places. That's a long story. I was going to post a video about that, and I decided it would turn people's stomachs. So anyways, I pulled a guy out of a vehicle, a burning vehicle, and shattered my foot while I was carrying him. Anyways, so here's the deal. You have an arch underneath your foot, or at least you're supposed to have an arch. And you can artificially create that arch by lifting your toes up. You can make it exaggerated. If this arch goes down, you want that arch to stay there, but a lot of people will collapse inward. Now, when you collapse inward, there's a navicular bone in your foot. We can call this navicular drop if you like. So when this collapses down, what happens is the tibia rotates inward, right? So this pronation, overpronation. I'm going to purposely overpronate. My tibia has now headed down in this direction instead of sitting here. So see where my tibia is? Drop. Do you see this movement of my tibia? This is very important. So whenever your tibia comes this way, it twists as it goes down. This will increase the odds of you having an ACL tear. Yes, people used to pay me for that. People used to pay me to look at people's feet. How disgusting is that? And I would sit there and take a look at their feet, and I'd be like, yes, you have a navicular drop, your foot is collapsing whenever you're running, and if you go to change directions, you'll be at an increased risk of an ACL tear. Now, here's what's going to be important. How does this matter for other things, like squatting? Well, here's the deal. If you have this drop, right, so I'm purposely trying to exaggerate to make it as visible as possible for you guys, you'll actually have less ankle flexion here. Oh, shit. That's right. So if your foot drops inward, now when you go to squat, you can't get as far forward, right? We want this ankle flexion, okay? If that foot drops inward, you'll have reduced ankle flexion. Now more torque is put on your knee. This is why I talk about the whole thing with Tommy Kono talks about squatting, where you bend from the ankle, and then it's basically a deep knee bend. And it's like, yeah, like if you get a really deep flexion in your ankle, why do weightlifters use shoes that have a heel? Oh, right, because now I can get my knee further forward. It changes the angle of everything, like your hips, everything. It's all interconnected. You can't look at any of these things by itself. Okay, now I'm going to exaggerate this, right? So by lifting my toes up, so here's my foot, here's it dropped, right? So I'm purposely dropping in, I'm putting pressure on purpose to try to flatten my foot as much as possible. I'm going to come back to neutral, I'm going to lift my toes up, and suddenly now you see my arch. And the thing is that when that happens, I actually get more ankle flexion. So if I'm here and I collapse inward, I can't flex as far forward here. But now I'm going to artificially create more of an arch by lifting my toes up, and then I'm going to lean into it, and oh, suddenly I've got, I don't know how much that is. 3 centimeters, 2 centimeters, I don't, who knows? But you can see visibly, there's a difference. I have much greater ability to flex this ankle when I lift my toes up. Now, why does this matter for you? Well, it matters for you because if your foot is collapsing, you're losing that, okay? So, what you can do, this is stupid, but it works. And so because if it works, it's not stupid. What you're gonna do is you're gonna purposely lift your toes up, create that arch, and then you're gonna stretch that ankle, lean in on it. I put all my weight up on this leg here. I'm holding this up. My toes are lifted up as actively as I can, and I'm stretching that ankle out. This is way more effective than if you were keeping your foot flat, or heaven forbid, you actually let your foot collapse inward and suddenly you don't have any range of motion. So we come back to neutral, we lift the toes, we lean back in, and oh, holy shit, I've got this extra range of motion here, okay? Now, how do you fix this? this was a big question for me because I used to have all kinds of problems with running because I would overpronate. And people will tell you, oh, it doesn't matter. But it does matter because when you're running 120 miles a week and you overpronate, you end up with shin splints and then you end up with stress fractures after that. How do you fix this? This is the dumbest thing in the entire world. And again, it works, therefore it's not dumb. So I would literally just stand there on one foot and I would pick my toes up and just hold that for as long as I could. I would hold it till the bottom of my foot hurt. I would get cramps in the bottom of my foot just from holding it for so long. Just holding it there. And if you want, you can make this more difficult. You could do some type of squat, but it doesn't really matter to me. The point is that you're holding that foot there, okay? And over time, my feet got stronger. I've done videos on this. You guys can find my videos on YouTube. I talk about this. You got to stretch the toes here, and you got to change the ankle. You got to rebuild this whole foot. It sucks, guys. Sucks. But the reality is, okay, I'm not like sitting here trying to sell you. Well, actually, you know what? While we're at it, let me sell you my barefoot shoes. So I have this barefoot shoe right here. Let me put this on. $99.99, but if you DM me, I'll sell you this for $79.99. Okay, so this is my barefoot shoe. It's really expensive, as you can see. It's so good you can't even tell I have shoes on. And so here's the deal: you're gonna take your foot and you're gonna rebuild it because you have weak feet. That's why. I'm not telling you have to do barefoot training. I don't give a shit. I wear weightlifting shoes whenever I do weightlifting. But I am telling you that if your feet are weak, you're going to have a problem regardless of what shoe you put on. The shoe is not going to make up for having weak feet. So you need to re-strengthen your foot. And that's going to come from this stupid exercise that I came up with. I don't know, I've never seen anyone else discuss doing this, where you literally just hold your toes up and you stand on that foot. And if you want, I suppose you can make this even harder. You could go both feet, right? So both feet, barefoot, toes up, okay? Standing, and I don't know, maybe do a squat, you know, like hold a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a plate or something like that and do squats while you're holding your foot like this, okay? The reason for this though, see this arch? I come down, if my foot collapses in, shit. But if I go like this with my toes, let me show you this. I'm gonna purposely collapse. When I lift my toes up, if I aggressively lift my toes up, it actually pulls this tibia. Watch my tibia here. It pulls my tibia back into place. The more aggressively I pull up, okay? So it's not just a little bit of pull up, because I can actually stay in a shitty position even with my toes lifted up. But if I pull really aggressively, there's no way for me to do that without contracting some of this musculature here that pulls my tibia back into position. Sounds too simple to be true, right? And yet it works. So that's the video for you guys. If you have questions or something, fire away. I will do my best to answer them. And again, you guys can thank Jeff, because if he hadn't asked this question, then I wouldn't have done this, because, well, I play favorites. I play to win, but I also play favorites. And, well, Jeff asked the right question, and so now all of you get to benefit from it. Point being, okay, so whenever you put on your fancy barefoot shoe here, shit, I forgot to take it off. It's a minor, we'll fix that in editing. This shoe here, right, that's your new barefoot shoes to train in. And the point being is that once you correct the foot, you'll suddenly have all this ankle flexion that you didn't have before, which then takes a ton of stress off the knee. Like half the time whenever guys have knee problems, it's just because they don't have enough ankle flexion. So when you don't have enough ankle flexion, your ankle's stuck. Where does all that torque go? Oh, it goes into your knee. And then where does it go from there? It goes into your hip. So if you fix your foot, suddenly you don't have knee pain anymore, and oh, wow, my FAI is gone. Why is that? Because now your hip has room to move. Like, that's really, this stuff is all connected. I'm not a physical therapist, I'm just some asshole who had to figure it out. And if someone else created that exercise before me, fuck them, because they didn't help me, right? I had to figure that one out on my own. But no, I'm sure someone else came up with that before me, but I figured that one out on my own. I haven't seen anyone else do that. And people tell me it's stupid, but it works. So if it works, it's not stupid. Shoot me comments if you have questions. Otherwise, give it a try.